Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast. I am your host, Patrick Kirby. Of course, this is a show that features small nonprofits doing great big things. We have an amazing one for you. I have been looking forward to this interview for weeks. It has finally come. This is a lot for me, more than it is anybody else, I think, because it is so amazing. I am joyful that I get to introduce the co-founder of Sheets from Home, Yael Halevi. How are you today? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having us here today.
I'm very excited to talk about Sheets from Home, how it started, what it is. So if somebody's tuning in for the first time, they're kind of reading the show notes. They're saying, well, this is an interesting thing, but I have no idea who this organization is and what they do. Why don't you give us kind of that 5,000-foot level on how you got started creating Sheets from Home?
So Sheets from Home is a nonprofit charity that donates fun, colorful bed sheets to kids fighting cancer in the hospital. These kids spend days, weeks, and sometimes even months at a time undergoing painful treatments. And they're away from their home, from their safe environment, and they need that comfort of being home, being in their own bed. And that's what we try to do by bringing them sheets from home. So it wouldn't matter which room, what hospital, wherever they are, they'll be their bed just like at home.
I just find this to be one of the more unique organizations I've ever heard about, and it's just so awesome. I'm excited. How did this start? What was the creation of this? Why was this a thing that you thought I need to do?
Well, Sheets from Home is a labor of love. My husband and I started it following our personal family experience fighting childhood cancer. My son, who was back then 3.5 years old, was diagnosed with a stage 4 neuroblastoma, which is a big word for childhood cancer. This diagnosis came right after, literally a couple of months after I was done with my cancer treatment, and it completely devastated us. Like I mentioned before, I don't think anyone is ready to fight cancer or deal with it, not with childhood cancer, seeing your kid fighting for his life, but that was just too much for us. So we decided to go with one day at a time and just give it our best shot and fight for him, fight with him. And part of that fight was a little box in the back of our car, and it had his favorite toys, his books and snacks, and the minimum things that we needed to keep him busy and happy. And it also had his favorite sheets. And it didn't matter what room, what floor, wherever he was, it was always his bed and his room. And we didn't think much of it when we did it. It was just an instinct. But quickly enough, we realized that we are doing something very different when the staff started asking us about it, and other people, other families, other kids would stop by, his doorstep and, hey, where'd you get those? And so somewhere along the way, we knew that we need to give this to other kids. And since it took another 1.5 years for him to go, back on his feet, and this chapter was behind us, not really, but behind us, because it's never behind us. But we were out of that craziness of hospitals and all that. We started collecting sheets. And we've been doing it since 2011 and officially since 2015. And that's what I do full time. That's my passion, my love, and I try to get to as many kids as possible.
I love that more than anything. From a dad's perspective, from a parent's perspective, I think the thought of having your child in a place that is so sterile and so medically inclined, and how scary that would be to an adult, let alone a kid. and to bring some sort of comfort to home that is sort of regular. What a cool thing to offer and provide families who are just looking for some sort of mental stability, and just like, what's normal? Like, where is your, I mean, I know that this is your new normal, right? But what's
exactly,
normal?
I was going to say that.
But what's your new normal? Well, at least we got sheets. It's the base, you hear the old saying where, every time you wake up in the morning, at least make your bed. It's the thing you got to come home to all the time, right? So you can accomplish that one thing during the day. What better way to have that analogy work out from sheets? If you've got a kid who's going to be in treatment, is going to go for infusions, or going to go here, or going to go down the hall and do another blood draw, they can go back to their bed, back to their sheet. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And even as a nonprofit being around officially, since 2015, starting in 2011, I'm sure you've got big, hairy, audacious goals on where this could go from where it started. What sort of things are you planning on doing at your organization, Sheets from Home? Where would you love to see this go? Dreaming big, whatever the case may be. Where do you see Sheets from Home going?
First of all, I would love to see Sheets from Home. I'll shock you, I think, but closing its doors, like after cancer has a cure and we are no longer needed.
Yes.
That would be the most amazing outcome ever.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, and being realistic, we would love to be able to bring it to any child that is fighting for their life in the hospital. There are no boundaries. Unfortunately, cancer is everywhere. It touched so many families, and I don't care if you're poor or rich or wherever you are, whatever you do, when it hits, it is painful, it's hard, and that's the little gift that we can give these families to help with their fight, with their journey. So yeah, anywhere we can help, that's where we want to be. There are many ways of helping. There's the traditional way of donating, and then we can contact the hospital and give as needed. And there are other ways. You can have like a birthday party, just a neighborhood get together. It doesn't matter what form, if it's a workplace or Girl Scouts, or collecting the actual sheets, writing a few words of encouragement, because this is going to go straight to the kids, and bringing it to a local children's hospital, and voila, you did something good, you made a difference, and you're actually giving.
Yeah, which is the best. I've been giggling about the hashtag We Give a Sheet as your.
That's exactly right.
I'm serious. You've given me more joy with that tagline over the last couple of weeks than I can even remotely thank you for. And here's the other thing too, this is something that everybody can do. I think people ask a lot of maybe parents who have a child who's either going through cancer treatments or who's been diagnosed with cancer. A lot of people don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how I can help. This is a really good way that you can either honor somebody that is going through the fight or who has come out of the fight in celebration of their, this is a really easy way. How many states are you currently providing sheets to, or have you sent sheets to? Because I know you're even in other countries too. So it's
correct
a number.
But our main focus right now is within inside the United States. We are serving about 13 states.
Awesome.
And growing. And when I say serve, it means that it's reoccurring, not a one-time thing. This is what we do on a regular basis, and they know that we have their back and these kids are covered. Just another word of how the sheets are used. These are the sheets are just, it's really important for me just to make this point clear. The sheets are gifts for the families, for the kids, not for the hospital. So those kids get to take it with them home. And it's, a lot of charities like to show the kids with the gift, or just ask them to share their stories. And occasionally we do too, but if you'll go on our website or on social media, most of what we share is our drop-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we were there. We were that family. Our son was going through so much that we didn't have the heart. We just couldn't, we didn't want to show him at his lowest
Mm-hmm.
and share that. It's a very private place.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the time, you will see our volunteers, you'll see myself, you'll see my husband, our kids are a big, part of this organization. We have awesome, amazing volunteers that help us make it, make this possible. Or the child life specialists at the hospital. These are the people you will see in front of the camera, not the kids. And it's for a reason, again. So just wanted to make sure that.
I love that. I think a lot of people, they can get a little inspiration, heavy with, it's even questionable on look at the kids over here that were helped. Look at these poor kids. And that's really a private fight, whether you want to do this publicly or not. And I think as an organization, knowing that and trusting you to say, this is getting in the hands of these thank you notes that are coming back from you or from real families and real kids that are going through this. And I think that's well enough. And I think that's the best part about your story is that you're so authentically honest about why you're not doing these things, instead of saying, well, we don't really know, or we don't really have, no, it's a private fight. This is what we decided to do, period. So I think that's great. Now, it's a wonderful transition to the question that I have, which is, what does your nonprofit do better than anybody else? There's probably a lot of organizations that try to help and comfort kids in hospital situations, but what makes Sheets from Home so different, and why does it make it that so successful?
Well, first thing first, we are 100% volunteer organization, so no salaries. We have literally a minimal overhead with just like basic stuff like website and stuff like that. But really, we put no money into advertisement or any of like facility. I work from home.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's very straightforward, but we try to, respect the donations that we accept and make sure that it is delivered and used to benefit the kids.
Yeah.
What sets us apart is our sheets raisers, basically fundraisers with sheets. Just like I mentioned before, we ask people to collect sheets. It has to be new, and the more colorful it is, the better. And we take crib or twin or full-size sheets. That's what works best for the hospitals. And you can, obviously, we'll be happy to help and coordinate and make everything possible. But if you're, if you have the initiative, you want to do something, go ahead, do your thing, run your own sheets raiser, and bring it to a children's hospital near you. We would love that. That's our mission, and we would love to see that happening more often. And yes, that's what sets us apart. We don't need the, we don't have the ego of saying, hey, you need to do it through us. Not at all. Really, please just help these kids, make a difference. It's simple, straightforward process.
I love that you're the catalyst for this across the country, regardless if it's through you or not. I think that's a remarkably a bold move on your part as far as a nonprofit organization. Amazing. But I also love the way that you talk about tangible gifts of producing a sheet and giving it to a family, right? I think a lot of donors are always going to like the idea of like, I know that this sheet helped these kids here, and I know it's sitting in that hospital, and I purchased it, and I feel good about this kid having a little better experience and not being so cold and sort of sterile because I did that. And I think that's a wonderful way to sort of bridge donors with understanding what your mission is and how it comes full circle. That's really wonderful. What sort of documented successes or success stories that you have from your experience since officially opening in 2015, even 2011 and beyond? Sort of, documenting successes are always fun. I'd love to hear a success story on something that you've experienced from working with Sheets from Home.
Since we try to keep the kids side kind of quiet, I'm actually going to refer to the other side of it, the fundraising part of it.
Yeah.
And we have something very, very special happening in my hometown. It's called Carmel, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past 3 years, the fire department, local
Mm-hmm.
fire department, has been running a sheets raiser during the month of September. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so they run their efforts. They do their, PR
Mm-hmm.
and supporting us. And they actually open all of their stations as drop-off locations for the sheets. And we get hundreds and hundreds of sheets through these efforts. And we are so thankful and appreciative of their support. It's been growing with every year that goes by. It's growing, it's changing, and it is absolutely amazing.
Well, kudos to them. That is
Yes.
that is wonderful. When from your family experience too, and I know this is kind of a personal, this is your personal vendetta against cancer and its sterileness, right? This is kind of your bit. What were the experiences that your child had with the fun sheets? I mean, that I think it's probably reflective of a lot of families that you don't talk about, is probably very similar. What was his reaction?
He was very young, so I don't think he remembers it as like in that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
When he was done with his treatments, my initial plan was to have a big bonfire.
Yes.
And burn the sheets, because it was so symbolic for us to, this is how we rolled and we're done. We're going to put in our past and we're moving on. And last minute, I decided I'm not going to do that. It was that way around. I kept them and I still have them. And it is very special, very, very special.
I'm sure, as you've probably followed up with families who you've donated to, or those, I think there's probably a handful that do the same thing, and they hang it or they have it in a place where it reminds them what they just beat, rather than completely forget about it. And I think a lot of maybe parents too, want to be reminded of the challenges that they went through, and they don't ignore it because that's what made them stronger and better as a family, and kind of, or there's probably a litany of reasons for that. And the fact that you've given other families that experience is really wonderful, as sort of a secondary awesome of just like making it at home, but then giving them something to take home as well, to do with it as they please, whether that becomes a bonfire or not, up to them. But giving them that as a gift, I think, is a wonderful, unexpected, positive consequence of your actions, which is just remarkable.
Yeah. I sure hope it makes a difference and gives them that little comfort that it did for us.
I bet it did. I have no doubt about that. Well, and again, speaking of sort of sharing that particular experience with us, and thank you so much for sharing too. I know that's even, years after, I think it's still as meaningful as it is now as it was then. There's no way that we get in small nonprofits where we go without a lot of help. So I would love to, and outside of the Carmel Fire Department, which kudos to them, is there a couple of other individuals you'd love to give a shout out to for helping you kind of get from point A to point B and ramping up? I love cheering on the helpy helpertons that get this done with us. So anybody you'd love to show appreciation to and joy here on the podcast?
We have a family, the Butler family from New Palestine, Indiana, that have been huge support of our organization and our efforts. Not only that they're helping us with fundraising, they are actually helping us with delivering the sheets and making the drop-offs and doing everything in their power to make a difference. They're the most amazing people with the biggest hearts I've ever met. They are truly amazing people, and we are very thankful to have them as part of our family now.
Outstanding. Butler family, kudos to you. I like that. Anybody that helps out in this particular cause is a rock star. Well, so as being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast, I would like to give back to you in any way that I possibly can as it pertains to fundraising. So is there a question that Sheets from Home or you, Yael, have about anything fundraising for Sheets from Home and how I can be of help to you?
Well, introducing our charity to the world is a great way to start. And
Done.
again, we are very thankful for this opportunity. Just introducing our idea, the idea behind it. It is, again, simple, straightforward. We would love to hear from you. We would love to bring it to, to your area, to your community. If you are a family that wants to make a difference, a school, a temple, a Girl Scouts troop, we would love to guide you, give you the right tools, and make this get this ball rolling. If you are a staff member at a children's hospital and you would like to bring our program to your hospital, let us know too. All this information, how to reach out to us and how to give a sheet, is available on our website, which is sheetsfromhome.org. So it's all one word, sheetsfromhome.org. We would love to hear from you.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I think a lot of nonprofits, especially the smaller ones, are always looking for how they can get out into the public and tell their story. Because the way that you tell your story and how many times you tell your story to as many people as possible is your best avenue for success, because someone along the line is going to know somebody who has a child in their family, neighborhood, friends, whatever, that has been affected by or is going through childhood cancer. Stats are stats, right? You're probably going to know somebody. So knowing somebody who works at a hospital, connecting them with as many resources as possible. How else can they help tell your story on your behalf? And if you're a small nonprofit, just like Sheets from Home, and you're just kind of this scrappy startup boots, we're going to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps sort of organization, getting in front of the right people to tell your story as enthusiastically as you're hearing Yael tell her story is critical to expanding your fundraising empire, because somebody along the line is going to be inspired by it. They're going to look at this as something that I want to do and I want to help. They're going to be relatable. They're like, as a parent or as a grandmother or as an uncle, they're going to make a connection there. And they're going to ask the question, how can I help? And you're going to give them a litany of ways too, through your storytelling, to as many people as possible, the way that that it's being described right now. So you bring up a wonderful question on how many people can I share this with, or who can I share this with? Everybody, as many times as possible, and never stop talking about it. Never stop being enthusiastic about it the same way that you are. You're going to do some really big and amazing things. This is so fun to be a little bit, a tiny microcosm of a part of Sheets from Home's story here. This is really going to be fun. As you can believe this already, our time is already up. I can't believe it. This has been way too much fun. Your story is incredible. But I want to give you the floor. The floor is yours. I want you to sell Sheets from Home the best that you can. How can people help who are listening? Where can they go? How can they get a hold of you? What can they do to help in their own communities? I leave this in your capable hands, Yael. Give the floor. How do people help Sheets from Home?
Give a sheet, literally. Get your friends, get your neighbors, get your coworkers together. All you have to do is either put a sign, collect money, collect sheets, find a box, clean box, please, and announce like a week long or a 2 week long, 2 weeks long fundraising effort. Collect the sheets, collect the money, write a few notes, make it personal. You don't need to give your personal information, but make it personal. Let these kids know that we care, that people think about them, want them to get stronger, want them to get back better and back on their feet. It makes huge difference. And bring it to a local children's hospital somewhere in your community. It's that easy. If you're not comfortable with that and you feel that we can do a better job, reach out to us. sheetsfromhome.org. We will give it 100% of our time and effort to make sure that these kids are covered. If it's easier, go to GiveASheet.today. That's it. Simple, straightforward. Make it happen.
I love it.
The way we like to say it, make sheet happen.
Make sheet happen. I'm going to be using this for the rest of my eternity. I just think it's so wonderful. And again, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for what you do. It's one of the more unique and wonderful nonprofits that I've had the pleasure of reading up on. I've had nothing but joy listening to your story. And thank you so much for what you are doing for families who are fighting childhood cancer and giving them a little taste of home right in their rooms while they're going to battle every single day. So what you do matters, and it's amazing. As always, we will put all of her information and all of Sheets from Home information in the show notes. Go grab that pile of money that's sitting on your dresser and go give it all to her, and Yael will use it and buy a whole bunch of sheets for a whole bunch of kids that deserve it and need it. Yael, thank you so much for being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast today.
Thank you so much for having us. It is our honor and pleasure to be here.
I was ecstatic to have you. Didn't disappoint. In fact, I'm more excited now than I was even before you came on. So thank you so much. We will see you for next episode. See ya.